Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Crypto Crow, and today I'm going to be discussing POWR Ledger. POWR Ledger being a project that I've been pretty bullish on and interested in throughout the bear market, just seeing what they are able to accomplish, what they've been able to do. And we're going to dive into that a little bit. Looking at Bitcoin real quick. On a 1 hour chart, I still have a sell signal, and it just doesn't look good, honestly. Melanie, who pops up in chat a lot, she's a friend of mine and my wife, like they went ice skating together and Chainwise, and like she's just a really cool girl, and she sent me a message like a week ago, like, what's happening? Oh my gosh, it's crashing. And I was like, 8,300, here we go. And a part of me was joking, but it looks like we could potentially hit that. It's looking like we could end up getting there. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we start to bounce here soon. But I bet even on a 30, yeah. It's just not looking good, and there are no signs of a price action turnaround, no matter what chart we're looking at. This is a 12-hour here. So anyway, we'll have to see how that plays out. The one thing that I will make note of, though, is as Bitcoin comes down and there are altcoins that you think getting a position in, or maybe you're looking to average down, like I did a calculation of the price of Bitcoin against where Cardano is. The lower Bitcoin's price, the lower Bitcoin's price and the lower Cardano's price, typically the more Cardano you can get with one Bitcoin. And that's pretty true for the majority of the altcoins, at least in the top 100. So you might want to check that out if you're trying to get into some altcoin positions, or you're looking to average down. You've been accumulating Bitcoin and you feel that the altcoins might outgrow Bitcoin's growth. So moving forward, POWR Ledger is currently, I hate the way they changed this so that everywhere you click, you open up their app advert. It's like, I get it. I know it's there. Don't make me go back to CoinMarketCap. Tired of being annoyed by this crap. But anyway, looking at POWR Ledger, it's currently trading at 9 cents, up 12.74%. It's been doing good, up 4.5% over Ethereum, up 10% over Bitcoin recently. So up a total of 98% over the last month, up over 50% over Ethereum recently, or over the course of the past month. So, but it's still catching up. It's still catching up because POWR Ledger took a really big hit. Current circulating supply of 428 million POWR Ledger tokens. Now, what is POWR Ledger? POWR Ledger ultimately is they've been increasing the number of products that they have available for the power industry, but in a nutshell, it enables people as well as companies to sell their unused power to other people directly through a trustless system. And it's, let's say I had a bunch of windmills in my backyard and I had all this extra power that I wasn't using. I could effectively be my own power company. I could basically sell this power to other people that need it through their decentralized platform. And here's the thing about POWR Ledger. I really believe in this company. I really, really do. I do also believe that they are going to continue being a bit of a slow grow operation. And I say this because ultimately, so this is one of the newest accolades. POWR Ledger wins contract with one of Italy's largest green energy utilities. So the highlights of the whole thing: POWR Ledger secures a contract with one of Italy's largest electricity utilities, LBRY SPA. POWR Ledger awarded the contract as one of 6 winners of LBRY Startup Factory Innovation Competition, or CAMP, ahead of 230 applications from 37 countries. So it was a pretty competitive competition. LBRY SPA has more than 280,000 customers. Excuse me. I got woken up really early. I went to sleep at like 3:30, woke up at like 7, thanks to my wife, who accidentally set off the house alarm this morning. And it was freaking ridiculous. She's already apologized. I was so mad. Has more than 280,000 customers and will trial Power Ledger's suite of energy trading products to explore additional services for customers. The trial is scheduled to run from January to May of 2020, with potential to jointly develop new service offerings to LBRY's existing and new customers. All right. So, what else do they have going on? So these are all the countries where Power Ledger has active projects in. And if you click, a lot in Australia, some different things in you've got Austria, Thailand, Japan, Malaysia, India. I mean, all over the place. North America, of course, Western Australia. Now, these guys are based in Australia, so they're going to have a lot more stuff going on there, but they're branching out into different countries. And if you notice, you've got XGrid, C6, PPA Vision, VPP 2.0. All of these are different projects and platforms that they're creating to utilize or to be utilized by the different systems to fill the needs, okay, based off of the different power, the different companies, the way they're, everything's different country to country, right? So they have all these different things that are solving a lot of problems. The problem is that while I love Power Ledger, I don't necessarily seeing it. I'm really not awake yet, am I? I've been reading now it's 2:00 in the afternoon my time, and I've been up reading a lot of this stuff for hours. But I don't necessarily see it being a huge boom grow, in the sense that I don't see this going from 9 cents to $15, okay? Because a lot of these partnerships, the contests, a lot of the stuff they're doing are trial relationships. And that means that, by the end of these trials, the relationship could be a moot point. It could be done. Or they could turn into long-term contracts that get a lot of growth and momentum and a lot of activity on the blockchain and things of that nature. So, well, me talking a lot, expelling whatever I'm expelling is making me yawn quite a bit more. So, I'm bullish long term. I think Power Ledger is going to be a really strong contender over the next few years. But I think early on over 2020 and into 2021, unless they are able to obtain some significant long-term contracts that increase its usage and really help cement Power Ledger as the go-to company, like this go-to green company, which I think is possible, don't get me wrong, because these guys are on the right path. But until that really starts to cement, I don't see significant booms in the short term. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just from a speculative nature by itself, we have to wait and see. Now, the market flexibility of the ecosystem is facilitated by deployment of a dual token ecosystem, Power and Sparks. You can't get Sparks on an exchange, only Power Ledger. Operating throughout its 2 blockchain layers. Sparks are basically created within their own system, okay? And those are what are utilized. So Power Ledger fuels the whole system, but Power Ledger is ultimately kind of staked, and so you're using the Sparks as this like true utility that is being traded. Power tokens are the frictionless blockchain tokens that allow application hosts and participants access to and use of the platform, like a limited software licensing permission. Sparks token are issued against escrowed Power tokens via a smart bond and used by the application host to onboard its customers. Okay, so that's how these 2 tokens are used. I wish it was just all Power tokens. That would really help things. But when when POWR, and here's the thing too, the very nature of this doesn't necessarily equate to high transactional volume. Okay, so if I'm trying to find okay, maybe, all right, I'm not sure where it's at, but if I'm looking at the data here, reported market cap of 36 million, active addresses. Now, this is over a 24-hour period. Okay, so there's 291 active addresses created over 24 hours. Transactions over 24 hours, there's 596. Payments over the last 24 hours, 732. So the system is fairly active, but median transaction volume, 5,263. This is all on-chain data. This isn't just so the way exchanges work, exchanges trade a lot of cryptocurrency that they don't necessarily have, right? So buy and sell orders in an order book, until somebody has basically said, I want to withdraw these funds, then that is calculated into transactional volume and things like that. You've got reported, and then you've got the real, right? Reported volume is, all these buy and sell orders being triggered, and all of that. But the real volume, as I'm understanding it, and I haven't even read this is just the sense I'm making of how things work and kind of getting some behind the scenes understanding of how things work on exchanges. You're getting a lot of additional trade volume, but it's reported as real trade volume. But the real trade volume is basically when people are exiting and withdrawing funds or depositing funds and things like that. Because there's a lot more. It's like banks. Banks might have $100,000 in their coffers, but they're loaning out $1 million, right? It's kind of how exchanges are working. So reported versus, so basically, the nature of this isn't something that everybody's using on an iPhone, right? This isn't something that everybody is utilizing for day-to-day activity. This is a very specific niche. So I don't necessarily expect to see these numbers outrageously high until they've concreted a lot of these big partnerships and we start to see this kind of transactional data rise. At that point, I will start to believe that we're going to get much higher. Original all-time high of $1.79, which it's up 145% since its cycle low of 3 cents. So we've already almost tripled it since it's low. So that's a good sign. I mean, the fact of the matter is these guys are active. They're still building. They're still working. And for that, I'm actually pretty bullish on them. Now, coin statistics here. We're talking about POWR Ledger. The project's current market cap is $38,943,170. The percent POWR Ledger holds in the current total market cap. So if you take the total market cap of all cryptocurrencies, they've got 0.01%. At the time of their all-time high, they held 0.07%. I mean, not that big. The proposed $1 trillion market cap percentage. So, they were 0.07 at their original all-time high. I feel like I'm being a little generous, if I'm honest, just based off of the fact that it's such a niche that it will, and I would expect it to grow significantly beyond 2020. So I'm thinking 2021, 2022. POWR Ledger, in my opinion, could become one of those types of altcoins that actually outperforms the market someday in the future. When Bitcoin's going down and it's crashing and we start a new bear market. I think that something like POWR Ledger could be one of those projects that could ultimately someday outperform the rest. Kind of like Binance token did, even though it's not a dividend token or anything like that. Because it's got one of those use cases that's not dependent on cryptocurrency sentiment. Right? You see what I'm saying? So it's just I'm very bullish, but I'm also realistic. At $1 trillion, if Power Ledger were to obtain 0.1%, not even a full percent, okay? It's like 0.1% of the total market cap at $1 trillion, it would take the price to $2.33. So not significantly above its original all-time high. If we hit a $3 trillion market cap, we could be looking at about $7. And I honestly think that that's a pretty conservative guesstimate on my part. Now, mind you, this isn't financial advice of any kind. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Don't trade on anything I tell you. Don't invest any more than you can afford to lose. I'm just some guy on the internet sharing my thoughts, okay? Do your own research and figure out whether or not Power Ledger is something that you think has some long-term stability. Personally, a lot of these projects that I'm going to be talking about in the near future, the majority of these projects have done pretty well in maintaining themselves throughout the bear market with capital low. I mean, Power Ledger got something like, I don't remember what it was. I think it was like $32 or $33 million at ICO. And, they've been putting it to good work. However, I think in the scale that I don't know if they want to operate at this scale, but I almost feel like if they were to have some sort of IPO based off of the groundwork that they've laid out to date, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if their digital offering helped these guys get to where they're at, and they take all of these trials, all of this data, and put it into an actual IPO, which could potentially enable everybody to start owning a percent or owning some of Power Ledger, which would also help propel them into the mainstream limelight. And I don't know. I just see so much potential for Power Ledger, and I think that these numbers are pretty conservative, but anything could happen. They could come out with some like a string of new partnerships, long-term contracts that sends this thing to the absolute moon. I mean, they could end up with a full percentage, and then we're looking at, $10 a token. But until I see the writing on the wall, and I think it's something I could expect sooner than later, this is where I think we could potentially end up in 2020 or by 2021. And again, I'm looking at a $1 trillion market cap as something we see by the end of 2020. And I think that we grow beyond that into potentially $3 to $9.5 trillion market cap by 2021 until we see our peak for the market. That's just my guess. So till next time, guys, crow your coins. Hopefully this is helpful. And I really love your comments. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the all bell so you're alerted anytime I either go live or upload a new video. And I love your comments and I love your thumbs up. Thanks a lot. And I'll see you later. Crow your coins.